Hi everybody, my name is Aton and welcome to another After Effects tutorial. Today I will be showing you some of the basic settings when first opening up After Effects, possibly for the first time, or possibly if you've never actually taken the time to explore some of the just necessary settings. So I'm just going to be going through some of the basics with that, so let's get started. Right after you create your project, you will have this window open, Composition Settings. So up first, we'll just type our composition name, so I'll leave that Comp1. And now, here you have your presets. So, for all sorts of different things, you can even do 4K, which is down there, all these different things. But, generally speaking, 1920 by 1080, which is full HD. Then you want square pixels, because otherwise that'll just mess it up. Your frame rate, either 24 or 23.976. Those are the sort of cinematic standard. Home video would be more like 30, and really the only time anything other than that is used is for slow motion purposes. So if you have like a frame rate of say 200, generally that would be slowed down later to 24, and because you have more frames originally, you can slow it down more smoothly. However, this is just in After Effects. There's no reason that we would need to slow stuff down artificially. We could actually just slow it down in the keyframes. Now, resolution, we'll start it at full. This is easy to change later. And then start time code, you want to start at 0000, and then how long you want it to be. So here it's set for 30 seconds. And then the background color. That's just going to be when there aren't any clips, when everything's transparent, the color it's going to be. Advanced you don't have to worry too much about, but basically the difference between Classic 3D and Ray Trace 3D, for the purposes of workflow anyway, Classic 3D just accomplishes most tasks and it's generally faster. Ray Trace 3D is for if you want to do extrusions and stuff, and I'm not talking about with Element 3D. If you want to do the built-in extrusions and stuff, you have to do Ray Trace 3D, but keep in mind that will slow down your workflow a lot, and even, I believe, disable a few other effects. So, generally I stick to Classic 3D, and we don't need to worry about any of this other stuff, because all this stuff is in the camera settings, so we can change that later. So, now we're going to move on to some of the preferences, so we'll hit OK here. So, now if we go to Edit and Preferences, there are a lot of tabs here. So I'm just going to go through the basic things that you sort of have to worry about when first setting everything up. So one thing I like to do is this box right here. Preserve constant vertex and feather point count when editing masks. So that's a lot of words, but basically what it's saying is you set up a keyframe with the mask for the mask position. And then say you want to animate that, just uncheck this so that you can actually delete points on the mask. And before, there would have to be the same amount of points in the beginning of the animation and at the end. And if you deleted one at the end, it would delete it at the beginning too. By unchecking that, it's not a problem anymore. So that's really the only setting we have to change there. Then in previews, I like to bring that down to 1/8 or 1/16, just because for stuff that gets really graphics intensive, what this is doing is the adaptive resolution, so what the resolution could go down to if it really had to. But generally it won't go past 1/4. Normally even less is fine. So this is pretty good. Now display, we don't really need to change anything here, and import, same here. Output, yeah, we can really keep going all the way to media and disk cache. This is one of the important ones. So disk cache, so this will sort of just affect how After Effects runs. And it will speed it up if you have a cache, so it can sort of keep files there and sort of just run stuff off of that hard drive. So I use just a folder on my hard drive and then conformed media cache. That keeps some extra media that After Effects creates. A few people will use separate disks for that, but most will use the same, and I haven't found that to be a problem, because this is media, and that has to do with the speed more. So then we can keep going through video preview unless you have multiple monitors, and here is where you would set it up for your external output. Just select that there, and then you could have more than one monitor. Then appearance, you can actually change the brightness, which is kind of cool. That's kind of blinding, but it gives a different look, and then all the way down. So I'm just going to hit default, which is somewhere in the middle, and that's pretty cool. And if you want to hit cycle mask colors, that's kind of cool, because basically every other mask, like, it'll pick a different color. So you do one mask, it'll be red, next mask blue, next mask green, etc., etc., etc. So that's up to you. Nothing really important there. Autosave. This is a big one. Make sure you check automatically save projects, and you can set your own save rate for all of these. Memory and multiprocessing, this has to do with the RAM. So here it says I have 16 gigs of RAM on my computer, and I'm reserving 5 gigabytes for other applications. So that's stuff like Premiere or any other thing I have installed here. This means that After Effects will never use more than 11 gigabytes of RAM at a time. Audio hardware, this you don't, that's really just the only option, at least for me. But then output mapping, this if you have multiple inputs and outputs, this is where you would change all of that for the left and the right output. So generally 1 is going to be the left and 2 is going to be the right. And really this is the same speaker I have here, but the left and the right channels are on separate audio sources, so it can map them separately. So really those are some of the basics to just setting up After Effects, all the stuff you really need to do. It's not that hard. Actually, the only thing you'll have to do after that is pick a window workspace. You can either create your own or pick one of these workspaces. I generally use the effects one, and if you want to follow along with my tutorials, that'll probably make it the easiest. But all this stuff, anything that's missing here, you can just click here and it'll show up somewhere else. So, thank you for watching this After Effects tutorial. If you liked it, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I will try to get back to you. So, thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something.